Evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the next issue of Voices of Beth Torah. And this episode, we have Marcia Rittmaster, who's going to share the history and her history of Beth Torah and the history of the Weiner Religious School. So, Marcia, were was the Rittmaster family part of the original founders, or when did you come to Beth Torah?
We came right after. We're not a founder. We came about 6 months after that. We were at Temple Bethel,
Mhm.
and so we decided, that Beth Torah was the up and coming thing, and Bethel wasn't going to um, meet our needs. So we made the change.
And they ended up folding after a while,
They
if I
did.
remember.
They did.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it was my fault.
Well, I'm not saying anything. I'll dispel all rumors.
No,
Um, and when did you get involved with the religious school?
Well, Steve Bernstein was the first religious school director. You're going to ask me to remember a year, and that's not going to work very well. And
No.
then Jeannie Court
No.
took it from Steve.
Mhm.
What year did we move into the building? That was my first year to take over the school.
It was about
You're as bad as me.
30 years ago. I don't remember. I don't know if it was even that
Okay.
long ago. But
Yeah,
okay, so
it was
it was when we moved
like
into the
30
new building.
years
That's when
ago
you took
more.
over. Okay.
So
All
when
right.
we moved there, Jeannie moved to be the administrator, and she hadn't been the school director for a while, hadn't been school director for very long, and they wanted her to take over the administrator's job. And I was working very part-time as a volunteer coordinator for Beth Torah, and a little part-time for the school. And then they asked
Mhm.
if I would take over the school, and I said yes. I had a wonderful mentor, Hillary Lewis,
Mhm.
Alpha Shalom, whose son
Mhm.
is now a rabbi, who was a dear longtime friend, and she was head of the Jewish Education Council. And so she was very much that first 6 months to a year my partner in launching what was the Weiner Religious School.
Mhm. I remember, and
And I
I don't remember I don't remember timelines at all. But there was a point when I guess it was the older kids were at the Jewish Community Center for combined classes with the. When was that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I really didn't. That was still under Jeannie's thing. When we moved into the building, is when I started to be in charge, and
Okay.
that was very exciting. I mean, that was launching the building and the school, and
Sure.
um, it was very exciting to do both.
Well,
We met on Sunday mornings, and then we got too big. We didn't have enough classrooms to do that, and we also had Hebrew school on Tuesday or Wednesday.
mhm.
And then we didn't have enough room, so we moved sixth grade to sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th to Wednesday nights. That's so they uh, we had school Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Mhm. Good. So I remember the Sunday pre, the services before Sunday school started, and I'll be honest with you, that's where I learned about 90% of my Jewish education came from that. In all those years with Jordan and Eliana, I really enjoyed it, and they loved it. I never had to, come on, let's go to Sunday school. They were always in the car waiting on me. They loved it.
Yeah, that Sunday service was really the key to, I think, our blossoming success. We were the first ones to do that in the city. And
Oh,
now,
wow.
as the years went by, everybody copied us. But because it was, and still, we sort of required parents to be at the service. It wasn't an
Yeah,
option. We gave them
right.
bagels first,
Mhm.
and then we went into the service, and then the kids went to class, and we had adult ed, and our parents just sat around and talked. Um, but yeah, it was. I think that was that partnership of the parents and the kids together was really kind of the key to our success and the family feeling that we created.
Yeah, it was great because actually during those years the Chiefs weren't that good, so nobody wanted to rush home and watch football. So yeah, it
We
was
were out by
wonderful.
noon.
It was fine. I absolutely loved every minute of it, and it was wonderful. So it was a good experience. So then you had the older kids. They were going on I guess they started out the trips to Washington D.C.
Yeah, that was the confirmation trip. We took them
Hmm.
to Washington D.C. It was I didn't get to go every year. Rabbi Levin always went, and if there it was a there were confirmation teachers who taught with him. But then sometimes I got to also be the chaperone. Those
Hmm.
are some of my best experiences being with the kids. Can I tell you my story
Please,
that
please.
about those trips? Okay, so this is my favorite story. Um, we would take the kids. There'd be a whole, they'd go. The purpose was to learn about some issues and lobby. But meanwhile, we did the sites of Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
So one year we were touring the Holocaust Museum, as we did each time we went. And I would kind of station myself in one place and I'd tell the kids, I can't follow all of you. Here's where I'll be. And you find me if you need anything. So I was sitting there looking at the exhibits around me, but I'd been, 4 or 5 times. So just kind of wasting time. And I found the place that had the name of the city where our Heritage Torah came from. It was
Wow.
called the Hall of Lost Communities. So there was a big sign that had a little story about that. And that was, so as the kids would go by me, I'd say, our Heritage Torah, this is the city it came from. And, it lives with us. And one of the kids said to me, it was a boy too, not a girl, said to me, it's not a lost community. We have their Torah. It lives at Beth Torah. And I got
That's amazing.
teary and
Yeah. Mhm.
I love that story.
No, that's great. I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
then those trips switched to the civil rights and down to
We did civil
Birmingham
rights
and over to
journeys.
Cambridge and
Yeah.
all that.
We
Yeah, that
marched
was.
on the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Mhm. My
Yeah.
son was Jordan was on one of the first ones that the first class that did that, and I asked to be
Yeah.
a chaperone because I thought this is like really. I mean, I've been to Washington D.C. 100. I mean, I've already seen the hall,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that I'd never
Sure.
seen. He said absolutely not. So years later, I was in Birmingham and for a real estate convention, and I did that on my own. And then a few
Okay.
years back, I was in Memphis for a concert that I wanted to see, and I went to the Rain Motel where Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Sure.
So that whole history thing, it's if you're not if that doesn't get you, nothing will. So it was
Right.
just
You're right.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. Those trips, in addition to giving the students exposure to kind of living history, when you're in a place where you're in the place where it happened. It also gave the kids a chance to bond together, being
Mhm.
roommates and
Right.
traveling. And also gave them a chance to get to be closer to the rabbi, and probably to me too, or whoever the chaperones were. When you travel like
Sure.
that, that happens. And
Oh no, it was
yeah, they were.
that was that was a good trip. That was a good trip. Jordan was he. I mean, he doesn't get
Right,
excited about too many things. He couldn't stop talking about it on the ride home from the airport. He had a great time. So
I don't know.
good job.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but this last year when we had a confirmation class a year ago, there were I think 4 or 5 boys. They
Hmm.
partnered with Hyman Brand Hebrew Academy because they did a civil rights journey, and so they had that confirmation trip. It was a
Wow.
little different, but it it lives on.
Oh no, that's wonderful stuff, and everybody needs to see
Right,
that. It's just good stuff. It's good stuff.
they do.
So,
Right.
so how long were you? How long were you in control of the
How
religious
long
school?
was I religious school director? I think
Right.
we figured more than 30 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was a long time. Yep.
Um, when did it become the Weiner Religious School? Do we know that?
Um, well, I think it was when we moved into the building. That's when they started sort of endowing or giving names to things. So it was the Weiner Religious School at that time.
Okay.
The
Yeah, I was
Weiner
curious.
family had the money to sponsor
Right.
it.
Right. From yeah, because Samantha's brother passed away.
Right?
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So I mean, when I interviewed Mark Levin, he was saying that, I mean, the religious school, I mean, just caught fire. I mean, we had 100 kids almost from day one,
I know.
and it got bigger than that.
At our largest, we were about 420. We were the largest school in the community.
Wow. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and now, I mean, times have changed. Beth Torah's changed.
Well, we're going to
Can
rebuild it.
we? Well, yeah, of course we will.
The
Um,
Jewish community's changed.
Jewish community has changed. I mean, Jordan had 50 kids in his bar mitzvah class. So, I mean, yeah,
Sure.
that's not going to happen
Yep.
again.
No.
So, realistically, what do you think we could get the? Where do you see the religion? I mean, if there was a number, where do you think we could get back to?
I don't want to go with numbers, but I'll tell you, I'd like to have um, it would be great if there was enough for kids to have friends within their class,
Right.
not just friends within the school. So a class, would have, 20, or even 15. We'll start small
Mhm.
and build from there because I think relationships are more than what we teach them. I think building a Jewish relationship and learning how to make Judaism work in the life you're already living is what we need to teach our kids.
Right. Oh
And
yeah.
that's the direction I think that the religious school's going.
Right. And I think we've got the pieces with the new rabbi, and then the Talmud Torah committee is doing their
He
magic
was a
to
confirmant. Our new
Yep.
rabbi went through confirmation at Beth Torah.
So he knows.
Yep,
He knows. He knows. He's part of the
he
OGs, so
does.
the original group.
Yep.
So great.
Uh-huh.
So um, there was a designation that we got. Nate, can you share how we got
Yes,
that? What did you get that?
I will. Yes, I was asked to serve on the board of the National Association of Temple Educators. It's like the Rabbis Union. This is a Reformed Jewish educators sort of
Mhm.
union. It was a big organization, and I served on the board for several years. And one of the things I learned about is they offered accreditation, and I looked into it for us. It's a minimum of a 2-year project. You meet with an advisor who's part of this committee, and you have it was like a notebook of things we had to fulfill. It was a lot of busy work, but it was interesting. Our history, the teachers' backgrounds. We interviewed people, and we had Robin Hendricksey was the chairperson
Mhm.
of it. She
Mhm.
worked with the religious school to do it, but there were probably 50 people involved in it, and they came for a site visit. Out of town educators came a couple times during that 2 years, and only about there weren't many who first chose to go through it because it's rigorous,
Mhm.
and who were finally awarded it. I mean, they have no qualms telling you, well, you're good in this area, but we need you to strengthen something, over here. And so really, it was quite an honor. I think the figures were something like 15% of the schools
Wow.
in the reform movement um, achieved
Wow.
accreditation. So that was a
That's
biggie.
that's impressive. That's very impressive.
It
So
was.
we don't still have that? Do they even have that designation anymore, or do we still
It's
have it?
well, supposedly it lasted, I think, 5 years or 7 years, but they don't offer it anymore. Once
Okay.
they went through a whole reorganization too, and it was a big program in terms of time, and it was expensive. They're flying people back and forth to do site
Sure.
visits, and um, I mean, it's a great organization. They offer lots of support, but they don't offer accreditation anymore. But we had it till it wasn't.
All right. Well,
I guess they
we
will
had it. We
never
got
take it away from us.
right, and they don't have anything
We had
like
a big
that.
sign.
There are more other accreditations or anything like that, do they?
Okay, I didn't hear you. You
Oh,
cut
I'm
out.
sorry. Yeah, we're kind of internet problems. So, do we have? Are there any other type of accreditations or anything that that we can apply
Not that
for?
I
What do you
know
think?
of. I mean,
Okay.
they used to have, teachers awards. The community has teachers awards, teaching awards, and Beth Torah people have won several of those. For the Kansas City, Greater Kansas
Yeah.
City,
Right.
we've
Yeah, I
had
know
lots
that.
of teachers of the year, and so we have won a lot of awards.
So I would imagine during that time when we had 400 plus kids, we had a lot of teachers and we had quite an array of young to old and all that. And I believe Mark told me when it first started out that the teachers, that was part of their synagogue commitment, is to teach. They didn't
Hmm.
get paid.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's happy for that. But so that, I think that's kind of interesting how it started, and then times have changed, but and we're changing also. So it's all good stuff. All good stuff.
Through the years, we still maintained our faculty was made up of a great percentage of Beth Torah members. We had other
Hmm.
people too, but
Right.
people who, and I, in my dealings with other congregations around the country, when I talk about that, people would say, "Oh, we don't hire, our members because what if there's trouble? They'll leave the congregation. It's asking for trouble." We never had that happen, never, ever, ever.
I
And I
don't ever
think they
remember.
took more of an ownership in it.
Sure, well, of course, of course. All good stuff. I learned a lot, some things that I wasn't aware of. So, all good stuff. Any final thoughts on the religious school or Beth Torah or the new rabbi or you're one of the we're all the sage elders that we know all and
Right,
see
we
all.
are.
So I'm
Exactly.
any sage
And
advice and visions of moving
I
forward.
will tell you that we're so lucky to have the rabbi we have now, who's gone through our school, who's at home in our community, who has a vested interest in what we do and our kids. I think that we can't lose. I think that this is, we waited a long time for a rabbi. We interviewed lots of people.
Mm,
People turned us down. They took congregations, in Florida. Who wants? Do you want to live in Kansas City or you want to live in Florida?
right. Right.
Um, but but I think it was all for a purpose, and so I just see us continuing to grow and prosper, and we have people who are committed to that. We have a fabulous Talmud Torah committee.
Mhm.
Anybody, I'll put a plug in. Anybody who's watches this and is interested in joining us and making this school even stronger, just reach out to Bridie Madoff, Bridie Stangler. She's the religious school, the Talmud Torah committee um,
Mhm.
chairperson.
Mhm.
And
Perfect.
we've got some good minds on there, and we're off to good places.
Great. All good. All good things, Marcia. Thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
we're excited to see the next chapter for Beth Torah evolve, and then also for the religious school. So thank
Yep,
you very
yep.
much, and
You're
good
very
luck.
welcome.
And
Thanks.
can't wait for Sunday school to start so we can see what happens.
Good, me too.
Thank you
Bye,
very
Larry.
much.
Thank you.